Hello and welcome to JSB Talks Digital, the podcast for marketers, digital transformation champions, and those of you bringing your skills into the digital age. I'm Joanne Sweeney-Burke and this podcast is brought to you by Digital Training Institute. In this episode, number 110, I'm talking about social media overwhelm and trying to keep up in the digital age as a marketer. In social media news, Instagram shows when you're online, Pinterest improves mobile web experience, and YouTube releases a new copyright match tool. I interview Sarah Thomas, a raving JSB Talks Digital podcast fan. I ask how I help her stay up to date on all things social media and digital related. In shoutouts, one place to hang out online to help your digital knowledge, Ask JSB, in JSB's column, follow my lead and eradicate overwhelm forever. And finally, find out what social media tool saved my working week.
Social media news.
Instagram now shows when we're online, but don't worry, it has an off button. They claim it's to help us know when our friends are online so they can DM us. Writing on their blog, they say, "We're making it easier to connect with friends on Instagram by showing you when they're available to chat." When your friends are active on Instagram, you'll see a green dot next to their profile picture in various spaces within the app, including the direct inbox and your friend list when you share a post from feed. You will only see the status for friends who follow you or people who you have talked to in direct. You can easily hide your own status and turn off the ability to see when your friends are active in your settings. In a new blog post called A 1-Year PWA Retrospective, Pinterest shares the results of its 1-year experiment running from a progressive web app. With a sharp focus on improving its mobile web experience, especially for those in low bandwidth countries and those with limited data plans, the PWA experiment seems to have paid off. Writing on Medium, Zach Argyle, engineering manager with Pinterest, said, "The idea of building a progressive web app, or a PWA, is not new, but its definition has changed with the emergence of key technologies like service workers. Now it's finally possible to build great experiences in a mobile browser. Being an early adopter can be scary, so we'd like to share a brief overview of our experience building one of the world's largest progressive web apps." And if you want to read more of this blog post by Zach, make sure you jump over to digitaltraining.ie to read the blog post associated with this podcast. YouTube has announced a new copyright match tool that will help creators on its platform find out if others have re-uploaded their content on other channels. To make it easier, YouTube has announced that after testing the tool for the past year, it will now start rolling out to creators who have more than 100,000 subscribers. So how does it work? Well, when you upload your original video to YouTube, they'll begin scanning all of the videos that are uploaded after yours to see if any of them match. YouTube says it's important that you are the first to upload the content to YouTube as a public video, since they use the video upload time to decide who should see matches. Make sure you check back regularly to keep an eye on any new matches that YouTube has found.
Interview.
In this episode, I interview Dr. Sarah Thomas, a regional technology coordinator in Prince George's County Public Schools in Maryland, USA. Sarah is a huge fan of the podcast and tweets me every week when she's tuned in. Sarah is a Google certified innovator, a Google education trainer, and founder of the EduMatch project, which promotes connection and collaboration among educators around the world. Sarah recently graduated from George Mason University with a doctoral degree in education. She was designated an ASCD Emerging Leader in 2016 and was named Prince George's County Public Schools Outstanding Educator using Technology in 2015. In this interview, I ask Sarah why she religiously tunes into JSB Talks Digital and if it's helping her with her work.
JSB Talks Digital.
Sarah Thomas, you're very welcome once again to JSB Talks Digital.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here.
So every week, without fail, I get a tweet where I'm tagged and you mention me and you say that you're currently listening to my podcast, and you've no idea how good that makes me feel.
Oh, thank you so much. Like, you put out so much great content. So it is truly a pleasure on my end to listen to you.
So talk to me about why digital communications and social media is so important for your professional life.
Absolutely. So I became a connected educator in 2013, and just the simple decision to get on Twitter and engage with colleagues around the world just was life-changing for me. So I get so much from being able to learn what other people are doing, as well as sharing what I'm doing and getting feedback from it. So it's just been amazing.
Now, you describe yourself as a connected educator. Explain to perhaps third level or even second level teachers or university lecturers that are listening to this podcast.
Absolutely. So pretty much being a connected educator, it'll look different for each person because there's so many different platforms out there for people to connect with other educators around the world. I started with Twitter, but my current favorite is Voxer. But there are an infinite number of platforms, an infinite number of groups out there of educators talking about an infinite number of things. So really, if you want to learn and grow as an educator, then really all you have to do is to find other educators online and be willing and open to share and to learn and to grow.
The digital age has absolutely transformed how we all learn. But in my experience, particularly here in Ireland, perhaps in the UK or in Europe, teachers can be very conservative by nature, but also very protective of their own personal reputation. Is that a battle that you had to overcome?
You know, initially I had two separate accounts, one for my personal life and one for my professional life. However, I noticed that over time they started to kind of merge as my professional life started becoming more of my personal life and my personal life started becoming more of my professional life. So I think that it's very important to just make sure to that whatever you post online, that it is it reflects you in the light where you want to be reflected. But now I currently just have my one account on well, that's actually not accurate because I run different projects, but my one Sarah Thomas account, I should say, on each platform.
And how has your own continuing professional development opened up by virtue of you being able to connect and share with educators right across the globe and not just in your home state?
Absolutely. Well, one of the things that demonstrates it the most is that we are talking right now. I know that we connected through a mutual friend, Dr. Mary Alice Curran, and got to meet face to face at the DigCit Summit in Bournemouth. So just really getting connected has rocked my world. I've been able to meet people that I now consider family. Because, you know, maybe the first time you talk to them online, you know, you might be, it might feel like a high school reunion when you meet face to face. I've had that experience with many of my colleagues, especially on Voxer. And, you know, when we met face to face, it was like we'd grown up together. But then the second time we met, you know, I might be staying on their couch when I come to their city, you know, as a place to crash. So it's just amazing how these relationships online can be formed and solidified, and just the doors that it opens, which are just insane.
So let's talk about Twitter for a moment. How do you use Twitter to connect and share? And is there a specific hashtag that you follow?
For Twitter, then I use it. At one point, I was going crazy with Twitter chats and just getting in as many Twitter chats as I could. And for anyone who may not know what they are when people get together around a certain hashtag at a specific time, and there's a moderator to ask questions, and everyone shares their responses. Great way to get lots of information in a minimal amount of time. So I was doing this nonstop, and it kind of consumed my life. So I had to take a little bit of a step back. So now I'm kind of using it more moderately. There is a chat that I do on Sunday nights at 6 p.m. Eastern. So that is that's midnight for you or 11 for you, so very late. But it's called EduMatch, where it's an organization I run where people get together, they share ideas, and we have that Twitter chat like every week, just about on a different topic that has been proposed by someone in the community.
So let's talk about how you're using Voxer, because that's perhaps not so much of a well-known platform here in Ireland.
Right, absolutely. So Voxer is very similar to WhatsApp, which I know is more globally known, but it's a walkie-talkie type app where you can share voice, you can share images, you can share videos, you can share GIFs, all different kinds of things. And what I love about Voxer is that you can actually speed up the conversation. So for me, I'm all about speeding things up and listening to as many things as I can. So I like to put the conversation on maybe 3 times speed and hear a bunch of ideas in a little bit of time. And this really helps me as I drive. My commute in the morning is at minimum 35 minutes and at maximum an hour and a half. So being able to communicate with people in these groups is just amazing and mind-blowing, and it has just changed everything for me.
And how would you say your students or your colleagues, those that you're working with directly, have benefited from your new knowledge and your more expansive network?
Absolutely. Well, when I first came to Twitter, then I came for the ideas. And I was getting so many different ideas from other educators around the world. And the ones that I thought would be a good fit for me, then I would turn around and use them in my classroom. And it made me, in turn, such a better educator with a whole host of tools and strategies in my toolbox that I'd be able to use at any given time. Now, again, I did kind of go overboard that very first year, and I wanted to try all of the things, but again, everything in moderation. So I was able to kind of more carefully curate and pick and choose what might work best for my students. And currently I'm not working with students in the K-12 arena. I do affiliate faculty work at a local and I'm always learning best practices from podcasts, from Twitter, from Voxer, things of that nature, just asking people. And also in my work with in-service teachers in my district, same thing, always trying to stay on top of the latest developments, just so that I'm able to share that information with the teachers, but also as educators being lifelong learners, also use those strategies with them as learners.
You mentioned in the early days being on every channel and perhaps a little bit too much. How have you managed to battle overwhelm when it comes to the world of the internet and social media?
That is a great question. I had to first and foremost get over my fear of missing out, because trying to follow everything on Twitter is like the cliche people say, trying to drink from a fire hose. And it's so true. You cannot possibly get everything that's on Twitter. So you have to let go of wanting to know every single thing that every single person is saying every single day, and just be good with one of my friends, Tammy Neal, says she said this specifically about Voxer, but I would say for most social media, it's like a radio station, and the hits keep coming back and coming back and coming back. So you just have to be good with knowing that it's going to at some point come back. And there have been times where I've gotten a little too overzealous, and I've had to kind of pull back entirely and pace myself, and that is okay. It's going to be there for you. If you need to take a step back, or if you need to lighten your load for a particular week or a particular time in your life, then that's okay. It's still going to be there when you come back. So just know that's okay, but just remember to come back. That's the key.
So why have you chosen my podcast, JSB Talks Digital, as one that you listen to week in, week out?
I love your show. for many, many reasons. I think that probably the biggest thing I get out of it is that I run a grassroots organization called EduMatch, and I'm always kind of looking for ways to get better. I did not have any kind of formal training in social media strategy or anything of that nature. So really the best way that I learn is by listening and by seeing what other people are doing. And I love the fact that you share these tips that, that I take and run with, and really it's educating me on how to do this in a more efficient fashion, and also giving me ideas for different things I might try. So I appreciate you for that.
Well, I love being a teacher, and I'm glad that you're one of my students. Talk to me a little bit about where you want to go in your career and how you think the world of digital is going to help get you there faster.
Absolutely. So I don't have a game plan per se. I like to keep things kind of open-ended. I have to say that I have loved I love what I do. I love what I do. And, I'm looking to do more of the same. In addition, if there's some kind of transformation that occurs, then, I'm always about looking into various possibilities and seeing what's available. So I would say the way that digital can change things is that I'm able to connect with people and learn better ideas. So I do see certain things gaining more prevalence in the near future. Right now, we're seeing that artificial intelligence, it's been around for a while, but now it's getting better and better and better, and just the big data and all of that. And I'm very curious to see how that will continue to impact education, as well as social media, connecting. What advances do we have in the future that might change the way that we communicate? So all of these things are very exciting to look forward to in the future.
Being an educator is such an important job, and it's so refreshing to hear the enthusiasm and the passion that you have for digital, and constantly hungry and wanting to learn more to benefit your peers who you're working with, and the projects that you run. Sarah, it's an absolute pleasure to have you on the podcast again. I know it's probably about 18 months ago since you were on last, and I really hope that you keep listening to JSB Talks Digital.
Oh, I absolutely will. And thank you so much for having me on. It is quite an honor, and I love everything that you share. So thank you so much.
Shoutouts.
In this part of the show, I give shout-outs to brands, organizations, or individuals whose work online is remarkable and worth talking about. In this episode, I'm sharing 3 resources to help you stay knowledgeable in the digital age.
1.
This weekly podcast helps you exercise your digital marketing muscles. In return for 25 minutes, I will take you through social media news of the week, an expert interview, and the social media tool that saved my working week. I also have shout-outs and my musings of the week in JSB's column. If you dedicate those 25 minutes once a week, I promise you, your knowledge of digital and social media will rocket. So make sure you subscribe.
2.
Only this week, I entered the Digital Training Institute blog into the 2018 Blog Awards Ireland competition. For the past 2 years, we've been runner-up, so getting a silver medal in the corporate communications category. It's not by accident. I blog twice a week, on a Wednesday and a Friday. So make sure that you subscribe at digitaltraining.ie.
3.
Every Tuesday, I email my community with updates on what I'm working on and what digital topics are front of mind. I also share the best of JSB Talks Digital content from the previous week. So if you want me in your inbox every Tuesday morning around 10:30 a.m, make sure you subscribe, and you can do that at digitaltraining.ie.
Ask JSB.
In this week's Ask JSB, Sarah has a question for me.
So outside of the amazing resources that you share and the tools and tricks that you share on your podcast, and where might educators go to get more information on how to start and promote their grassroots movements?
Thanks a million for the question, Sarah. And so the advice that I would give your community of educators on how to grow their network is, how about starting a blog? Have you ever considered launching a blog of your own and inviting your peers to guest blog? So you'd only have to blog once a month, and then for the other 3 weeks of the month, you invite one of your peers from right across the globe to blog 500 to 750 words on a specialist topic. I promise you, if you do this for a whole year, consider all the relationships that you will have built. Think about all the content that you have created that you can then share out on Twitter and on your other social networks. If you have a digital marketing or social media question, don't forget you will have it answered on the show by using the hashtag AskJSB on Twitter or Instagram. You can also leave me a voicemail with your question at digitaltraininginstitute.ie/AskJSB. And of course, you can always send me a message to any of my social networks.
JSB's column.
In today's JSB's column, I share my tips on how to eradicate overwhelm in the digital age. Let's be honest, our smartphones have changed our lives for the better, but also for the worst. We are addicted to scrolling, checking in, and sharing. I'm guilty too. But when it comes to working out what I need to do for my own professional self and my business, I have that mastered. I don't do overwhelm. I'm very strict on productivity and planning, and I refuse to procrastinate. But there are some other things that I repeat and rinse every week that I thought I'd share with you in today's column. Choose your expert resource. Obviously, I'm going to recommend that JSB Talks Digital is your go-to expert. Find one person, one platform that you can go to religiously every week that will give you the knowledge that you need. Also follow the right people. There's a lot of people out there in the world of social and digital. Find one that you can really identify with and that you can actually build a personal, professional relationship with online. If that's me, make sure you connect with me on LinkedIn and follow me on Twitter at tweetsbyjsb. I would also say that I frequently ask other experts in my industry questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. It's impossible for us to know everything. And when you ask questions on social, there's always somebody waiting in the Twitter wings to help you out. I'd also suggest to have a weekly piece of content that you write about, because guess what? That gives you new knowledge. I have to say that producing this podcast for over 2 years has been one of the best CPD decisions I have ever made. It keeps my knowledge right up to scratch. Create a content plan. If you're feeling really overwhelmed, then why not create a content plan that you need to fill yourself every month? By creating a little piece of content, you're also learning. It also means that you're practicing what you're learning in the digital age. If you're only consuming and not producing, then that's going to be a problem. I would also advise you to audit your own skills and document what you need to know to bring your business to the next level. And maybe realize that getting somebody that is better than you can sometimes be the best option. This year, I've built up my team and it's really helped me, but also my business. The investment is worth it when you get the right people with the right attitude. If you want to discuss your digital or social media marketing strategy, then get in touch. Simply drop me an email to joanne@digitaltraining.ie.
Social media tool of the week.
The social media tool that saved my working week this week is Promo by Slidely. This week I bought a new video tool package and I'm really enjoying using it. Promo is a digital video service that fuses premium footage, quality licensed music, and attention-grabbing copy to create instant promotional videos at affordable prices. Sometimes you just want to create a video for social, but you don't have much time. This, for me, is the main problem that Promo solves. Launched in 2012, it has over 50 million videos, slideshows, and collages with over 300 million views on its own platform. Find out more about their packages at slide.ly/promo. Thank you so much for tuning into episode number 110 of JSB Talks Digital. If you're a regular listener, make sure you subscribe and review. As always, I have everything discussed on today's show on my award-winning blog at digitaltraining.ie. And if you're a public sector marketing pro and you need to take your skills into the digital age, then check out publicsectormarketingpros.com/diploma. The new diploma in digital communications for public sector starts on September 3rd. Before I speak to you again next week on the podcast, make sure you get social with me. Send me a tweet to a Tweets by JSB, post a comment on our Facebook page at Digital Training Institute, and you can also snap me to JSB Snaps. I'm Joanne Sweeney-Burke. This is JSB Talks Digital. Thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you soon.
JSB Talks Digital.